The views and opinions expressed by guests on this podcast are solely their own and do not represent the position of the host, this show, or any organization either party is affiliated with. All content is shared purely for educational and inspirational purposes. Nothing discussed here constitutes professional advice. Listeners are encouraged to independently verify any information before acting on it. The host is not responsible for any outcomes resulting from guest statements. By listening, you agree that you are solely responsible for how you use the information shared. Welcome to the Tech Sharmit podcast, where technology is not just news, but the roadmap to the future. This is a space where we explore the latest tech trends, AI, startups, gadgets, and the ideas that redefine the way we think. Leading this conversation is Amit Sharma, globally recognized as Tech Sharmit. A technologist from Bharat, Amit brings an Indian perspective to the global technology landscape. With deep technical expertise and strong industry insight, and for his contributions and impact within the global tech community, he has been recognized with several prestigious honors, including Google Developer Expert, Microsoft MVP, IBM Champion, and Planet Mainframe Influencer. Through this podcast, he shares practical knowledge, real-world perspectives, and globally relevant thinking designed to help you stay ahead in an ever-evolving technology landscape. Before we begin, make sure to subscribe to the Tech Sharmit channel to stay updated with future episodes. And if you're looking to level up your skills, don't forget to explore the Tech Sharmit digital course book in the description box, where you'll find thousands of free programming courses curated to help you grow as a developer. So plug in your headphones and join us as we begin today's episode of the Tech Sharmit podcast.
Hello everyone, welcome back to the Tech Sharmit podcast. Today I'm joined by another special guest, Lezlie Browder, who is joining us from the United States. If I talk about Lezlie, then she is an IBM Champion, LearnQuest instructor, and a mainframe technologist with deep expertise in technologies like COBOL, CICS, and IBM MQ. So in today's episode, we will talk about the mainframe system, modernization, mentorship, and what it takes to build a long, meaningful career in this technology area. But before we get started, thank you once again, Lezlie, for joining us today. And now I request you to please initiate the discussion by telling us a bit about yourself.
I'll do the short version. Let's see, I've been in technology since the 1960s. It started off when it was really, I think, what it is. It's data process. And it was called data processing then. And I got yanked out of a calculus class, taken to an obscure part of the high school with four other people. And it was a table. Now I know a key punch machine and chairs. And we went in there, and I learned later that this was an experimental program that came out of Illinois Technical University, and they had created one of those versions of programming languages that they felt like even high school students could learn. Okay. And so we learned Fortran 66. That's how long ago it was, and we learned something called ITran too, and that looked a lot like C and things like that. But that's what we learned. The main motivator that instructors probably could use today is that we got one grade. That's how he encouraged us to work together. That you're gonna get one grade for the whole group gets the same grade. So that helped us do a lot of things. So that's how I started. And from then on, it just was a whirlwind of things that happened whenever I mentioned that I knew how to code something. As I started looking for a job, and as I went to finished high school and went on to college, very small college. The college said they never heard of Fortran, so I left that alone. So I didn't pick that up again until for a couple of years. I was like, okay, so whatever that was, I'll just stay away from it. And eventually it came up again. Well, I was with a large insurance company, and I mentioned that wait, before that, I mentioned it when I worked for American Airlines, and they wanted to send me to Tulsa, and I just thought I was going to lose it
Okay.
over that. I didn't want to go to Tulsa. So anyway, from there, it finally, I worked my way into COBOL, and COBOL came from an insurance company, and from one insurance company to another. A lot of things back then we did. I just wanted to add this that we should do today. We double checked everything. Everything that you did was double checked. Even when I did
Correct.
one of the first versions of AI, then it was like in the 80s. I had a I had a accountant that had to go over my work again on a 10 key calculator. I don't think most people know what that is, but on a 10, he would go over my reports again before
Mhm.
anybody else saw them. And I think that would kind of help because I know that knowing that makes you a little more aware of what you're doing. It's just
Okay.
not a printout, because it looks really good, but the numbers could just be false. Um, from there, I became a deep software person as far as in developing software, when, on the developing side. And the harder part, I did a lot of the answering. And that's when you really are responsible for your code, more so than when I had Mike checking my work on a 10 key calculator. When the
Mhm.
client calls, you do not want your software to become shelfware. And if you can't answer the questions, that's shelfware. And that still happens a lot today. Um, it still happens a lot today. So then, okay, so finally, I was everywhere. I was everywhere. And I finally ended up at IBM, and I brought in my COBOL skills. I brought in my customer skills, and I just brought in my confidence. I didn't produce anything that I wasn't confident about. I didn't like guess. I didn't just try to hide. This if I would stand up for my work no matter what. So then we
Mhm.
went from COBOL to CICS. We were still
Yeah.
managing data. It's still data processing. And as we were managing the data processing, we came up with this idea of why don't we have the data go right in to the data set that's gonna, be processed by the program. So that's when we came up with that CICS. Say, let the customer put their own address in, let the customer put their name in. And
Correct.
yeah, that was interesting. So made a lot of, you know, I really enjoyed having some of the information put in a unified way, but that's how we learned how to say things like, alpha here, put an alpha here, put the full address here, things that you think are like just normal, are things that happen from the mistakes we made,
Yes, right.
because you cannot imagine what went into when I said put your address in, and we would think we'd get an address, and it was just stuff like, 2 doors from the corner. And it's like,
Correct.
no, we wanted your address. So, we went through that, and VSAM was uh it was a little challenging because it's easier now because you have that Excel. Most people have exposure to Excel that
Excel. Yeah.
tells, that knows, now that there's an identifier on the place that zeroes right in on that piece of data. So
Correct.
that's what that's what happened. And we had like we in Excel, you have rows and columns, and you got tags for that. Well, that's the way VSAM worked. So when they came up with the Excel, it was like it was very easy to understand what we were pointing at. What else did we have? Oh, you know what really brightened our day was Rex. Rex was
Hmm.
great. Brighten your day because you can do something quick and dirty. You could do it,
Correct.
you didn't have to go through it was a big process, developing, adding something to a application, or taking something out, or making changes was a big process.
Correct.
So Rex was great. I built my first system and just barely knew what I was understand the process, and I was going to, and it worked because the directive from the vice president was make it work the first time.
Right.
He didn't want, when I did the demo, we didn't go home that night. My boss stayed there with me, and he wanted me to demo that thing at 7 o'clock in the morning alone with him, and we got it done. And it was looking at it was telling the bond traders which bonds were the most attractive to sell that day and which ones are the most attractive to purchase that day. And it kind of, get a jump on that market. As soon as that bell went off, we had a jump on the market because we had this rec system that said this one is good based on the age and the speed and the amount. This is a good one to buy based on the age, speed, and amount. I don't know why I still remember. This is a good one. It was very traumatic. This is a good one to sell. So it's been some journey. Oh, let's talk just really quick about let's talk really quick about MQ. Oh, wait, it's called IBM MQ.
IBM
When I
MQ.
started with it was in 2001, and I was just getting off of Y2K, so I probably should have took a vacation, something,
Correct.
a leave, but no, I just jumped right into it. And MQ series was a great thought, but it was hard to introduce to both the customer side and to the technology side. And we got it done. And at that point, I was instructing classes to customers and to technology people. And you're like the only one from your company there. So you're the target. So it was challenging. It was challenging. But what it brought to us was just in time numbers. Oh no. Just in time numbers, and it also brought access to information that your data did not get lost when the system
Correct.
was down. A lot of times back then, ATM machines were new then, and you could go to an ATM machine and you couldn't get into your own bank.
Correct.
Because the system would not, they'd turn it off or they'd hold back and we'd call it down. So MQ Series was great about that, by holding on to your message until the other receiving system was ready to take your request. So that was my technical spiel. But now for my technical communicator part of my career, when I became a mentor. And I didn't have that personality at that time. But I worked it out because I realized that, and I did too. We suffered when we had a chain that you had to go through. You first were a programmer, and then you were assistant programmer, and then you went on to whatever, management special projects. And that programmer, the assistant programmer, required a lot of communication skills that technical people don't have. I did not have it either. But you got to, a lot of things about technology is you have to acclimate. You
Correct.
have to change, just like right now, we have to acclimate.
That
And
is
so
very
at that
important.
time,
Yeah, that
I'm
is
sorry.
very important to act on the technology, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
That's very important.
That's like a whole 2-hour podcast. Because you also have to, let me just throw this in because I have to say this to my mentees. I have a whole session on them. But technology in the academic school situation and technology and the world, that's going to be two different scenarios for you to participate in. And so you have to be able to participate in one as a student and you're receiving the information. But when you get to the other side, when you're given the information, there's a whole lot of other things that you need to bring to your palette that you use every day, and your tones and your caring and your everything that you do and your responsibility for your work. And just a lot of things that sound like a tech preacher. But I've had some fantastic successes and I've had some fantastic failures. And I hope that some of my mentees now like me better than before because I would say, no, that's not good enough. Do it again. And he knows who he is. And
So
he
we,
did. He fixed it.
yeah, we can say
Yeah.
that it
So,
was a full roller coaster ride for your journey, right? You have explored both
yeah,
hills, lows, highs as well, right? And with a full of
it's,
resilience.
the last thing I want to say about this, you are not prepared for everything,
Correct.
but you're not prepared for everything. That's the exciting thing about this. So always feel confident in what you will commit to.
Correct.
You're going to be confident in your learning. You're going to be confident in your being flexible. And you're going to be confident in your goals and so forth. So, school is different from the world, and the world is different from school. That's all you have to do is just separate those two. And just remember, I'm a technologist. I know
Hmm.
this. I
Right.
know it's input. I know it's output. I know it's processing.
Correct.
So
Okay.
that's all because
Yeah,
that's about a
it's
3 hour
quite
speech.
fascinating journey, and I'm sure like those who really know you, those who have worked with you, like they can acknowledge all these phases because you have proven these things into the field as well, so they can easily relate with the things.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Yeah.
now, Leslie, moving forward, I'll talk a bit about a kind of hypothetical situation. So let's say
Okay.
on one day, like if any CIO came to you and they said that we need to modernize the mainframe environment. So what's the first thing you would tell them? What's the biggest mistake you would like to warn them to not make when they are dealing with the mainframe system?
Okay. All right. Let's do it this way. I'm
Okay.
sorry to change this. Let's just get this right out on the floor. You will make a mistake.
Mm-hmm.
You will make a mistake. You own up to your mistake and you move on.
Correct.
Okay. The mainframe environment will challenge you. It is so much, I feel like it's much easier now, but that's like from my dinosaur view because we started with cards, but it is easier. You're not sitting in a room. That's why I had to blur it out. You're not sitting in a room full of books. I
Yes.
still have books all around me and
Correct.
bookcases. I still have read books downstairs in the basement. I still, we have to have a lot of information because you have to remember a lot of information. So the first thing I want them to know, you just have to be responsible.
Correct.
It's nobody's choice. You didn't get sick. I mean, you didn't get, well, okay, you did. You could get sick. You could get sleepy. It's your responsibility. That's what you do. There's not the biggest mistake because I've erased libraries and all kind of things, right before we were getting ready to send stuff to production. The production library was gone because they killed my JCL job because I pretended like I was a
Yes.
higher class than I was. And they're like, she can't do that. And they just threw me out. So I had to come back and fix it on Saturday. So you have to fix things. That's what I'm saying. Just there's no biggest mistake. I haven't made my biggest mistake yet. I've made some mistakes, but you haven't made, that knowing everything, that's for the movies. That's not
Correct.
us. That's for the movies. Okay. So
Yes, these things happens
enough of
only in the
that.
movies. Yeah,
Yeah, it's like it's been only a couple of real technology movies, but
correct.
I've worked a number of places and a number of positions. There are no, I know everything wizards. Okay, a couple
Correct.
of the dinosaurs, people. Yeah, I see you talk to a couple of the dinosaurs. They kind of know everything because they made it up. But otherwise,
Okay.
there's
And one more
there's
thing I
no,
want to
don't
ask
worry
you.
about that.
Mhm.
Huh? I'm sorry.
One thing I want to ask you about the mainframe is
Uh,
the talent, because we all know that somewhere mainframe industry is facing the talent, right? Because there is a skill gap in mainframe talent globally. So, in your view, like what's the single biggest barrier keeping young technologists from exploring the mainframe technology, and how we can fix that?
I think we need to fix it first of all by
Mm-hmm.
by the older mainframers being a little more human.
Uh-huh.
Uh, we spent forgive us. We spent a lot of time by ourselves reading books that engineers wrote,
Correct.
and that will just put a big uh, limitation on your communication skills. But
Yeah.
this is so relevant. There's no industry from medicine to going to the moon that does not use it. So people are dependent on you.
Right.
People are depending on you. So I think that thinking that the image is that we know everything is
Mm-hmm.
what really hurts the industry. And then you'll have people who pretend like they know everything, and that also hurts the industry. We are the human side of this equation. You
Correct.
got the machine side and you got the human side. And then both have been here from since the existence of time. So human side should be flexible and receiving and able to laugh at themselves, but able to stick with something to the end. And the technology side is explicit. So if you
Right.
tell it to go through the door backwards, it'll go through the door backwards. That might not be what you wanted to say, but you have to be succinct in
Correct.
all your communications with it's like, I don't know, talking to a child, talking to a pet, it's like, well, that's what you said, jump through the door. I didn't mean jump through the door. I actually meant walk through the door. You can't do
Correct.
that on a computer. If you say jump through the door, part of your CPU is jumping through.
Yes. Okay.
So this, be able to, I don't know how it got that reputation, but it's not, I don't think it's glamorous, but it's for a certain personality, it's just required. If
Mm-hmm.
you make life too easy for the technology personality, you will have a room full of mischievous adults. So
Okay.
keep it challenging. Don't expect it to be easy. It's going to be challenging, but it's not above your intelligence. There's like little nuance down in there that you did not even touch when you were, guarded in in your educational experience. Most of us didn't have a big technology educational experience because there wasn't one. You know, uh,
Correct.
it was sitting there, and if you didn't get it right, you lost your job. So nothing more motivating than losing your job.
Correct.
So that's what
Okay.
the
All right. So now I think it's time to talk bit about the things that you are doing beyond your professional journey, because you are also a legend level indoor cyclist with 6,000 plus rides. So what do you think? Like, what does that discipline teach you about the persistence, performance, and showing up lessons that you carry into tech journey also?
First of all, working out was not my idea. You
Okay.
know who taught me how to no, I thought as long as I could keep my brain going, I was good.
Mm-hmm.
That's wrong. And so when I was at Aetna Life and Casualty back in the 80s, we had people, young people, dying in their cubicles, dying at your desk because we thought that if I just keep doing this, I'll get it correct. Not thinking about, what effect it's having on my body. Am I living off of just coffee? Have I got up and moved at any point? So it was them that put me into the middle of realizing, oh, you need to exercise your body. Your body is not just your mind. This
Correct.
is a whole system. And it's like
Right.
just thinking just the CPU without the printers and without all the different the output um, devices and your input devices. There's a whole, what do we call it, ecosystem. It's a whole lot of stuff
Correct.
working together. Your body is the ecosystem. So I learned what Aetna did is they built um, fitness centers in every single one of their buildings And then they made all of us go. First, we had to take a written test, talk about ourselves, and then they sent us to. And they put us in a supervised health
Mm-hmm.
situation. We were assigned trainers. We met with them, so they didn't like just put the fitness center there and trust us, because I probably never would have gotten involved. I didn't know anything about sweating. I was a reader. That's how I got into learning algorithms in the summer when I was 12, because my mother said, which she told the nuns when they said they had to practice modern math, they said, well, you could use Leslie. She doesn't do anything but read. I don't know why she said that, but it was the truth. But I think it's a law against that. But anyways, I would go to the convent during the summer, and they would, when one nun saw that the other one was working with me, she said, oh, let me borrow it. So it went from like an hour to like I was there all day.
Correct.
And that's okay, because when I got home, I read. So that's how I got into athletics. And when I just, as I got more and more into it, I got really hooked on for winning and training, and just extremely overwhelmingly, just way too, sometimes too competitive. In the summer I have to watch myself, because I will
Correct.
push until, to the end, because I want to be in the top something. I don't like to be in the bottom. And it's a fun. I just, I'm not giving them. Yes, I'll give them a commercial because they have saved my life. The Peloton experience, even for older people. The 70-year-olds, they are monsters. I'm in the 70s, and we know which. We work out together for years. We work out on Saturday morning, and we challenge against each other. Got something going right now with somebody who I used to be way in front of him. Obviously, he's been training, because he beat me one day by 1 point. It's been terrible.
Correct.
And but it's good for you, because as you're sitting, technology, if you do it right, it has stress. It's a
Correct.
stressful job.
Yeah,
We
and I think
call
this is
it,
something that everyone should know, especially those who are working with IT industry, because as you mentioned that the body is also kind of system and you have to maintain that system as well, right? Otherwise, it might cause some kind of stressful issues as well. So yeah, you are right on that track.
yeah. So we only get one life. Why don't we just give it all we
Correct, correct. Right.
and move our bodies? We could do both. Otherwise, we just would be like little brains, little blobs of stuff around. I think we
Correct.
have our hands and our feet and everything for a reason.
Yes, yes, yes. Okay, so yeah, although like we have plenty of things that we can discuss here, Leslie, but we are short on time, so I just want to take
Okay, okay,
a couple of more questions before we conclude the
okay,
discussion. So
okay.
this question is regarding the support of network. So looking back on your own journey, who were the key people around you who had a defining impact on your journey so far?
Oh, okay. Most people around me, it has to be the people that I work with, because most people around me have no idea what I do.
Mm-hmm.
And so um, I think, um, I think it's just my colleagues a lot. They have a big influence over me. And I have influence over some of them because I'm opinionated. But yeah, I think it's a lot. It's my colleagues and my
Yes.
my management, and um, you know who else? My dad, because my dad taught me that if I really want something, you need to really show that you want it. So I know I can ask you the same thing over and over. I wanted something big from him one time. I called him every day for a month and asked him the same question until he said yes. And so
Correct.
that's, if you want something, make life a commitment to
Correct.
most of the things you do, and that'll work. Commit yourself to, your project. I don't know why that mentee that first final project he turned in was like, this is wrong. And I've had a couple of people that'll say, yes, she will say that to you, a couple of the mentees and some of the uh, young champions that are mentees. I did have someone do something and ask, okay, you write this part, and then I'll jump in from here. And I was like, this is Chat GPT. Do I look that stupid? So I
Right.
kind of lost my mind. Every once in a while, I lose my mind. And I tell you exactly what's on my mind. And I do a no holds bar because this is technology is not, flash. It's not, it's a responsibility. You're
Correct.
working with a very important tool. This is just not no hammer from, the local hardware store.
Okay. All right. So yeah, now just one more question before we wind up the discussion, and this question is regarding the place you belong from. So if you had to define, if you had to give one statement to tell anything about the United States that you feel proud to share with the global audience, just one statement, what would you like to share with the global audience here about US?
Oh, okay. So, you know what? This is an issue. United States is not perfect. Okay. We
Mhm.
work it out, so I've been here almost 75 years, 75 in June. I've been through I've gone through phases where I didn't even know how bad things were going. And I learned it when I got older. So, same thing. This is an ecosystem. There's a whole lot of stuff going on.
Correct.
So it's not a one thing is, spoiling the meal. You could have a whole meal and maybe the soup isn't good, but the main course is good. And maybe the bread is dry, but the butter
Correct.
is good. It's like that. And so that's how we live. You know,
Mhm.
um, the Bears won, but uh, your candidate didn't win. It's just that's the United States. We got a lot of stuff going on here, and it's been a couple of hundred years. We are resilient, and there's nothing bigger than the idea of who we are and all that. The melting pot. Everybody has something to say. We care about each other. That's a hard journey, but we stick with it. In a couple hundred years, we could do it. We could do this.
Okay.
That's all I got to say about the United States. It's not Oz, so don't come here acting like you Dorothy. All you gotta do is click your heels and something is working. It's a roll up your sleeves, be committed, get it done, and things will change.
Okay. All right. So yeah,
I
thank
think
you
I
so
got your
much.
code now.
Yeah.
I know. Did you? Oh, you're welcome.
Yeah. Thank you so much uh for joining in this episode, Leslie. It was really a pleasure talking with you, and especially the way you have explained the things. I'm sure those who are from the mainframe world, so like they can got lots of inspiration from your journey. So thank you once again for being a part of the show.
Well, you're welcome. I wish I could have told him that part about how to ask the old dinosaur question. Why are we so evil? But we won't talk about that. Thank you for
Thank you.
asking me.
Thanks.